Greetings and welcome to the Chemistry 158 Bottles Lab. This is a great lab to start the term off with. It's kind of a fun lab. We'll go in the lab. We'll see what the lab is like. You'll get used to some lab procedures. You'll learn about chemical safety, which is definitely important. And more importantly is that I get to meet you. I'll talk to you kind of informally and stuff, and hopefully you can talk to me informally too. I think it's kind of a fun lab and a great way to start the class. So let's see what this Chemistry 150 lab is all about. But before we start that, I just want to say welcome to Chemistry 150. It's really cool to have you here. My name's Dr. Michael Russell, and you can call me Dr. Russell, Dr. Michael. Michael is fine. Mike is fine too. Don't call me Mikey. All right. I had a problem with a 1970s commercial with Life cereal where they called this kid Mikey. Kind of freaked me out. Long story. But anyway, don't call me Mikey, honestly, and everything else is fine. Chemistry 150 is a great introduction to chemistry, I really feel. This class in the summer is short and sweet. It will go by quickly. We won't meet too many times, but during this time, we'll learn about chemistry. We'll learn some cool kind of facts and figures, and hopefully have a good time while we're doing it. So anyway, the most important thing I want to get across to you, though, is that if you have questions at any time on anything, please reach out to me. Email is the very best, mike.russell@mhcc.edu. You can also talk to me, of course, in class and stuff like that, which is not a problem, but I really want your questions to be answered. So anyway, I think it's going to be a fun term. I'm glad to have you here. And without further ado, let's see what this lab has to offer. So this lab, we're going to have an overall kind of introduction to the lab space we're going to use this quarter, as well as give you an experience as to what the lab is like. Labs are where scientists do what they need to do. And in chemistry, that is so appropriate because chemistry, you're always transforming matter A into matter B or trying to figure out the energies or the wavelengths and stuff like that. So this is where the action happens. We can talk about it in lecture, but this is where the chemistry actually occurs. And this lab is a great introduction to just scientific exploration. If you've got some unknown things in front of you and you want to figure it out, let's do it. All right. How do you do it? Pretty chill. Now, along the way, we have to be safe. All right. We're in a world that has other animals besides us and stuff. We can't be putting things down the drain. We have to make sure that we're protected in case something does go south, stuff like that. So this is a great lab to kind of show you about safety procedures, how we keep ourselves safe, and also how fun science can be. And that's another one of the goals of this whole process. So when you come to your lab section, bring a printed copy of the lab with you. You can fill it out while you're performing the lab. You won't have to retype anything or rewrite anything later, which is really nice. You won't have to work by yourself either. You'll have at least one lab partner, and you can work in groups of up to 3. Groups of 4 I don't allow because then someone's always just sitting around and bored. So groups of 2 people are great, 3 people are okay, but never groups of 4 or more. And I do recommend that you introduce yourself to your lab partner or lab partners. At the very least, get their first and last names because you'll need that for your lab report. But I also recommend that you exchange some kind of contact information. So in case you need to get a hold of them later, you can. So for example, maybe you forgot to write down one of the unknown numbers. Well, you can email or text whatever you're comfortable with your lab partner, and maybe they can share it with you. And it works both ways. Maybe your lab partner forgot to write down a chemical's name, and they can email or text you and let you know. So I do encourage you to exchange some kind of contact information, whatever you're comfortable with, and just in case it can be really helpful. Now again, don't put any waste down the drain unless I say it's okay. Most of the time, chemicals are not fish friendly, which means that fish don't want to drink it. You don't want to drink it. If you eat fish and stuff, you don't want to eat fish that have drank them. Pretty bad. We have special collectors for waste when it's inappropriate to put down the drain in the fume hood, and I'll show that to you in this thing. Now in this lab, you're going to create lots and lots of little bits of waste, and if you keep on going to the fume hood back and forth, you'll get a good workout because you'll walk around so much, but it's kind of frustrating. So what you can do is put all of your little bits of waste in a bigger beaker, and you've got some glassware in front of you. You can do this. Then at the end of lab, just go dump the one big container of waste in the waste jar, and you'll be good to go. In chemistry labs, you'll almost always have some kind of unknown number or unknown letter, and it's really, really important that the first thing you do when you have this unknown is you write write it down in your lab report. It'll be sometimes a letter, it'll be sometimes a regular number, sometimes they're Roman numbers. There's all kinds of possibilities, but it's really important that you write them down. You might turn in a perfect lab with beautiful data, everything's done correctly, but you didn't include your unknown, so I don't know if it's accurate or not. So unknowns are very, very, very important, and make sure you write them down. And you will have 2 unknowns to write down in this lab. Finally, as a safety thing, you've really got to wear clothes which are safe for the lab, all right? And I'm not going to be like a totalitarian or anything like that, but the less skin you show, the less likely you are to have a problem, right? And if it's a warm day and you come in with shorts and a tank top, you're going to be just screaming out for some kind of chemical spill, and that's not what I want you to experience. I want you to have a good time in lab. So wear clothes which make you feel safe, all right? I do recommend as little skin as possible. Just be careful. If you wear a shirt where your midriff is showing, that's a good place. A lot of times spills will happen, so be careful. I definitely don't recommend open-toed shoes, so try not to wear sandals if your toes are exposed. At the very least, of course, have socks, and I do recommend closed-toed shoes just to keep yourself safe, all right? And how labs work is that there'll almost always be some lab worksheet pages that you'll complete. You'll work on the data during lab, and then the following day, the next lab at the very beginning of lab is when you'll turn it in. You do not have to type up a formal lab report in this class. You just complete the lab pages. You also don't have to have a lab notebook unless you'd like to have one, which is fine. You can write the lab data directly on the lab sheets and then use it to process the information and stuff like that. So again, no typed lab reports. You'll just turn in the lab worksheet pages, and you do not need to keep a lab notebook with data and stuff unless you'd like to, which is fine. The lab data can be written directly on the sheets, and so you're good to go. So in this lab, you're going to have a type of matrix, and in the upper left-hand corner there, you can see there's solutions, and then there's A through H on the top, and then A through F you can see anyway in the bottom, and it does go down to H. And your goal is just to complete this matrix, all right? And to do it, you want to mix 3 drops of one chemical with 3 drops of another. So you're going to have 8 solutions, and they'll be labeled A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. And you'll mix, for example, 3 drops of solution A with 3 drops of solution B. And then in the appropriate place, for example, right there, that's where you would add it. Because you can see that's the intersection of A and B. So that's where you'll write it. And when you mix the chemicals together, you'll be looking for things like you might see a precipitate. A precipitate is a solid that forms upon a chemical reaction. So if you see, for example, a white solid, write it down. If you see a red solid, write it down. Only those kind of things would be fine. And even if it's just a little bit of solid, you should put it down. Now, another thing you might see is you might see bubbles. Bubbles would mean a gas has formed. You might feel heat being generated. And I don't anticipate you doing that in this lab, but if you do, that would be a cool observation. So look for solids, look for bubbles, look for heats, look for colors of things. But honestly, you might not see anything at all. All right. And honestly, a lot of the chemicals you'll mix together, nothing's going to happen. So that's okay. So you'll add one clear liquid to another clear liquid, and the final clear liquid is just clear, and that's boring. But anyway, this is the world. So anyway, write down whatever you see. All right. So it's pretty chill. Now, at first, that looks like a lot of X's and stuff on that matrix and stuff to fill out. However, if you mix chemical A with chemical A, you're not going to see anything, all right? It's like mixing water with water, or say coffee with coffee, or Diet Coke with Diet Coke. Nothing's going to happen. So one thing I would do right away is put X's where the same chemicals are mixed together. So you can see on this sheet right here, yeah, there we go. I guess I can see them all. Anyway, every time it was the same chemical mixed together, you can just put an X. So A with A is an X, B with B is an X, C with C, etc., etc., etc. Another thing that's daunting at first is there's still so many of these boxes, but here's a way to make it easier. The thing I circled earlier there, which is A and B coming together, is actually on a second part of the sheet, because right there, this is also A mixed with B. It's like B with A instead of A with B, but it's the same thing. So you're going to have like a mirror image across. You're going to have the same results in both of those circled areas. So if you saw a white solid in the first one, you can write white solid in the second one. Stuff, no big deal. So really, it doesn't take that long to do this. It might feel that way at first, but it's actually pretty mellow. So just remember, A with A, nothing's going to happen. Just like F with F, nothing's going to happen. Put X's there. And there's also, you're going to see the same answer in two places. A with B is going to be the same as B with A. Not too bad. Now, you're also going to have two unknowns you're going to pick, and the unknowns will have a number. So one thing, let's say you had number 87, you can literally write 87 right there. And if the other one was number 5, you could put the 5 right there. Whatever their numbers are, okay, write them down. And this is so important because you might have perfect data, but if I don't know what your unknown numbers are in this lab, I'm not going to be able to grade anything. And the same process is going to be used for the unknowns. You'll take 3 drops of unknown number 1, like 87 in this case, and mix it with compound A. And if anything happens, you'll put it in the box. And then 3 drops of the unknown with compound B, etc., etc., etc. And then you'll do that for both unknowns. And then at the end, you should see some patterns, all right? The first unknown you pick will have the same pattern, for example, maybe as solution D. Or maybe the second unknown will be the same as unknown G. You'll look for things. I do recommend looking for the things that are exciting. And again, that means a formation of a precipitate or a color in the solution, something like that, maybe a gas. All of your unknowns are the known solutions. So compound, if you had number 87, that might be chemical G. And unknown number 5 might be chemical A. All right. They're all going to be one of those 8 known compounds. And your goal is just to tell me which one it is. So at the end of this lab, tell me the first unknown is letter X or whatever, and the second unknown is letter Y. That's kind of the goal. And again, you'll be able to use the patterns and stuff to see what happens. So in this lab, you want to complete both pages of the lab report, front and back, before turning it in. You can turn them in early, but that's usually when it happens. Most labs will have a post-lab question or two that you should answer before you turn it in, all right? They're usually pretty chill. They hopefully represent something that you've done in the problem or something that will help you along the way. So try to do those before you turn it in. You don't have to do a typed lab report. We used to do that, but we don't do that currently. You can just complete the lab report sheets. As long as they're legible, it's no problem. If you have problems with having handwriting, which can be read easy, you can retype it or rewrite it and stuff like that, but it should be cool. And again, you don't have to have a lab notebook either unless you'd like to have one, which is fine. I won't be requiring it, looking at the end and stuff like that. And the most important thing is, boy, if you have questions on anything, you let me know. All right, there are no dumb questions in my class. So my answers may or may not be perfect, but you can ask me anything, and I want you to ask me things. So let me know if you have any questions at any time. Okay, so at this point, I think we're going to watch a little lab video, and I'll show you kind of how the process works of the 8 bottles lab. Again, have fun with this lab. It's kind of fun. It's a great science exploration kind of thing. Science can be fun, and it also will, in the background, teach you about lab safety, things to do, not to do, and stuff like that. If you have questions on anything, please let me know. Have a great day.